What is up? GoodMicWork back at you, coming up a little bit late this week. I apologize for that. I think I pre-warned everybody that would most likely happen. Got a lot to get into in this episode. I'm going to give you guys kind of a quick update on what's going on with me and when you can expect to hear from me again. And I'm going to give you a joint review of Raw and SmackDown, just a casual discussion on both. We had one show that was pretty shitty and another show that was pretty damn good. So it should be fun discussing that. We'll probably preview No Mercy a little bit, and I'll get into some other wrestling news items as well. Before we get started here, just a quick update on the channel. And by the way, if you don't want to listen to any of this stuff and you don't care, scroll down to the description. I will put a time code in there. It should skip you a couple of minutes ahead where I begin my Raw review. For the rest of you that do care, as you know, I've been mentioning it in every commentary for the past 4 or 5 weeks that I am going through a transition and a relocation. I move 1 week from today, October 5th. And then things can really start getting back to normal. The problem with that October 5th date is it's a Wednesday, and I'm going to be moving Wednesday and Thursday and probably unpacking all through the weekend. So I don't think you're going to hear from me next week at all. I'm sure I'll be able to watch Raw and SmackDown, but as far as getting a commentary done, I don't even see how it's possible that I could do that. So I think the next realistic time that you're going to hear from me is going to be after the No Mercy pay-per-view on Sunday, October 9th. So that's going to be about 11 days in between commentaries. I hope all of us can find the strengths inside ourselves to live without each other for that long. I don't think I've gone that long in between commentaries in, gosh, probably over a year. But I'm going to come back strong. Once I move in and get set up, I will be able to resume things as normal. Going to change up a couple of things as well. Just a little format change on a couple of my videos, like my weekly reviews when I do Raw and SmackDown. I might just change up the way those are presented. Nothing major, just a few tweaks. I might do more of a revolving pictures type of deal. Maybe put some more information up on the screen. That way it can kind of be more of a video instead of just the still image that I currently give you guys for these commentaries. So I want to change some things up like that so these can be more watchable. Also, I can officially promise you now that finishing up a DVD review for you guys will be a piece of cake. I know I've been putting that off. I promised it back in August, but I figured it would be best if I just waited and did it once I moved in and relocated and settled. So I'll try to give you 1 or 2 of those in the next few weeks to make up for things. So we'll see how that goes. I've got a lot of ideas in my head. All I know is the remainder of 2016 should be a pretty fun time here on the GoodMicWork channel. Let's finally now jump into Raw and SmackDown. As always, if you have not subscribed to me, please do. Don't forget to like the video, follow me at GoodMicWork on Twitter, like my Facebook page. You can listen to me on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, support the GoodMicWork channel and brand on Patreon, and visit my website, GoodMicWorkCommentaries.com. As far as Raw goes, the September 26th, 2016 edition, not a very good show at all. It wasn't completely their fault. WWE, you knew they weren't really going to go out of their way to provide a kick-ass show on a night where not only were they going head-to-head with Monday Night Football, but they were also going head-to-head with the first presidential debate, which I think somewhere around like 80 or 100 million people watched that thing. So that was going to put a hurtin' on Raw's ratings, to say the least. As far as what happened on the show, Jesus, I don't even know what to talk about, really. Rusev and Roman Reigns opened the show, I think, with a title match. It was a U.S. title rematch from the pay-per-view. The match went pretty long. I was happy to see this match open the show rather than close the show. And Rusev wound up getting DQ'd when he grabs a chair. And what I was confused about is that these guys have been wrestling so much, and Lana has been getting involved, and there's been chairs, and there's been brutality. At what point do you make a fucking stipulation for these two guys? Now, I know Hell in the Cell is on the horizon, so that seems likely that these two guys could actually be put in the Hell in the Cell. Which you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that would be the first ever Hell in the Cell match with the U.S. title on the line. Am I wrong? When you look at everything else that's currently going on Raw, who else would you really put in that cell? I mean, I know Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens have a little bit of bad blood, and Jericho has been getting involved in matches, so the cell could keep Jericho from doing that, but I think there's more bad blood between Roman Reigns and Rusev. The way Lana has been involved, it's a little bit more personal. So I think this match could easily take place in the cell, and I think it's the only feud currently on Raw that would make any sense to be in a cell. We also had the fallout from the Sheamus and Cesaro match, the best-of-7 series that ended in pretty much a no contest at the Clash of Champions. Mick Foley came out to the ring and called out both guys and put them both over for working so hard in that match. And then he proceeded to announce what a lot of us had kind of speculated about, and that is Sheamus and Cesaro will indeed team up as a tag team. And Mick Foley said, hey, I told you guys you would be getting a title opportunity, and I'm going to give you a shot at the tag team titles. They ended up working a squash match against a couple of guys. They're not getting along so far. They're at odds right now. I think eventually they will come together and start working as a team. I mean, when you look at the rest of the card right now, what are either one of these two guys really going to do? I know a lot of fans have wanted to see Cesaro pushed for a long time. I'm one of those fans. But WWE's clearly not going to do it right now. They're just not going to fucking do it. I don't know if they're ever going to do it. So at least if he teams with Sheamus, it gives him something significant to do. At least he's going to get TV time. He's getting title matches. He will probably wind up winning the belts with Sheamus, I would imagine. And they can do the whole story where they had a great rivalry, a great series of matches, but they found a way to get along and to coexist and ended up turning into one of the most dominant teams in WWE, and next thing you know, they're going to be BFFs just like Jericho and Owens. So I'm really fine with the teaming of the two, and I think they definitely deserve an opportunity. So throw them together. If you're not going to do anything else with them, this is much better than the two of these guys being involved in meaningless one-on-one matches week after week after week where, you know, storyline-wise, they're just not doing shit. Speaking of the tag team titles and the shot that Cesaro and Sheamus are going to get, they might be wrestling the New Day. I can't believe the New Day won again. So it's been 400 days now since they've been tag team champions. They beat Gallows and Anderson at the Clash of Champions after Gallows and Anderson just kicked their asses for the entire duration of the match. They wound up cheating, hitting Anderson with a trombone and getting the victory, and I defended the decision to have New Day go over, provided Gallows and Anderson turned right around and defeated them for the belts on Monday Night Raw. And sure enough, Gallows and Anderson got the title shot. And so then I was like, okay, for sure this is it, right? Gallows and Anderson have looked like killers in their past couple of matches, and they completely dominated the New Day at the Clash of Champions. Put the belts on them now. I mean, in retrospect, maybe with the debate and football going on, this tag team title change might have gotten lost because not as many people would have seen it. I think wrestling fans would still see it. There's YouTube, there's channels like this. It's all over the fucking place. So just because you didn't see it on TV doesn't mean the fans wouldn't be aware of it. But maybe that factored into their decision. I just think now it's at the point where Gallows and Anderson are going to start losing momentum. I didn't mind they lost at the Clash as long as they turned around and won them the next night, but they didn't. So now you have to wonder what's next for Gallows and Anderson and the New Day. Kofi Kingston, by the way, got completely busted, wide open. I mean, his face was a mess of blood. I haven't even read if he got stitches or staples or anything like that, but it looked pretty bad. And now you have to wonder if the New Day is going to move on to Sheamus and Cesaro. The main event was Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens beating Enzo and Cass. They set this up on the highlight reel with Enzo and Cass coming out during Jericho and Owens' Love Fest. Jericho is pretty damn hilarious. He is the most entertaining thing on Raw right now. So at least on a night where Raw was going to suck, we still got some awesome Jericho and we were all able to drink it in, man. Other than that, we had a pretty good cruiserweight tag team match. TJ Perkins finally worked a match on Raw. I forgot who he even beat. I love TJ Perkins' entrance. They should go one step further and have his health meter on the screen during his matches or something. I know there's a big crossover audience with wrestling fans and video gamers. I am not a video gamer. I'm a retro video gamer. I love the old school NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Atari 2600. Played all those consoles as a kid, and I even still own them to this day. But beyond that, I don't know anything about Xboxes or PlayStations or what the fuck they do. They're so damn complex now. It's crazy. And video game related merchandise is a billion-dollar industry, and there's a lot of people into it, and a lot of those people are wrestling fans. I wish I was more of a gamer than I was. When I see how successful some people are on YouTube and Twitch and shit like that, just playing video games in their fucking house, that's crazy. I mean, on one hand, I'm glad I never got into video games because it keeps me outside. I like smelling the fresh air, and I don't like to be confined to a place for too long. I mean, I spent enough time sitting in a chair just doing this GoodMicWork stuff. I couldn't imagine if I added video games to that. There's no way I would have time to do anything else. You know what? The rest of Raw kind of sucked. Why don't we move into a show that was much better? SmackDown was a pretty damn good show, and we even got a title match, a WWE title match in the main event. AJ Styles defended against Dean Ambrose, and John Cena was at ringside for commentary during this match. Now, I didn't review SmackDown last week, But the main event of last week's show was John Cena versus Dean Ambrose, and Dean Ambrose defeated John Cena clean. So Cena lost again. He lost to AJ Styles at SummerSlam, then just a couple of days later, he lost another match, which I really like seeing this from him. WWE might just be buttering us up. I mean, maybe a John Cena title victory will be a little bit easier to swallow if he loses a whole bunch of matches before and after. Maybe his next title run is short. Maybe they just want to give him one so he can go ahead and tie Ric Flair, and then he can break the record sometime in the future, in the next year or two or something like that. So maybe it's just a title reign that they want to give John Cena. So maybe they figure if they have him lose a whole bunch of matches, the fans won't freak out as much as they normally would. Could definitely be a possibility, but he lost clean again last week. I think it's like the first time in 7 or 8 years that he's lost clean on TV, which is insane. But seeing him being pinned a little bit more often now is definitely a nice breath of fresh air. The title match between AJ and Ambrose was awesome. They put on a really good match. Cena, of course, got involved. AJ instigated it. He got thrown out of the ring or something and then just slapped the shit out of John Cena or punched him or something. Cena then tried to climb in the ring to get at AJ, which wound up distracting Ambrose. AJ's able to roll him up and pin him, which causes Ambrose to freak out, and he gets in John Cena's face, and John Cena eventually AAs not only Ambrose but also AJ Styles and stands tall to close the show, holding up the WWE title belt. So I don't have a huge problem with that because John Cena has not had that many great moments since he's been back. So for him to stand tall today just builds for the match at No Mercy. Right now, I don't know what the outcome would be. I would like to see AJ just keep the belt and keep running with it. John Cena apparently has got other projects and other things that he's doing, so a WWE title reign doesn't seem like it makes any sense right now, especially with the live events. But if it was up to me, I say keep the belt on AJ at least through the end of the year. He's a great champion, he's a great wrestler, and I couldn't be happier with what AJ Styles has done since he's come into the WWE at the Royal Rumble. The other major news on SmackDown is that an Intercontinental title match has been announced for No Mercy. Now, this is not your ordinary Intercontinental title match. The Miz is going to be defending against Dolph Ziggler. They did another segment on SmackDown. I think it was Miz TV. The Miz was in there being all Mizzy, fucking awesome, and they ran a big video package on The Miz and his career, and he's great. I mean, I've been so up and down with The Miz. I mean, when he was on top in the WWE in 2011, everybody hated him, and I was the one that was defending him. And then when he kind of fell off the face of the earth and he started doing a bunch of shit, I was the one that couldn't stand the guy. I didn't want to see him anymore, and some other fans were warming up on him. And now it seems like we all collectively like and respect the guy. He is an amazing professional wrestler, an amazing heel, an amazing character. Everything he does is highly entertaining and very well done. And I like The Miz. I am fucking Team Miz. He cut a brilliant promo in Cleveland, which is where him and Dolph Ziggler are both from. Dolph Ziggler and The Miz's parents were both in the audience. He called out his parents and says, stand up, give my parents a round of applause. And then he pointed out Dolph Ziggler's parents and started insulting him and said that they created a loser and all this shit. That prompts Dolph to come out. He gets on the mic and cuts a pretty emotional promo. Came off as a little bit of a pussy. I hate to say that, but it's kind of true. You know, he didn't seem mad or he didn't seem angered or enraged in any way. Miz wasn't scared of him at all. Miz was actually kind of making fun of him. And then he gets in the ring and he's kind of crying a little bit, and it was very telling, you know. He says, you give and you give and you give and you get nothing back. You work so hard to love someone that doesn't love you back, basically just talking about his career in the WWE. He's worked so hard, basically killed himself, and for some reason, WWE will just not give him the position that he feels he is worth. So it's a very rare kind of work-shoot promo, which I really liked because you could feel it. And then The Miz is like, look, if you're out here to ask for another Intercontinental title shot, you can suck my balls, and I'm going to leave. You're not getting one. No, you had your chances. You lose every time. All you do is lose. Me and Maurice are out of here. And as they're leaving, Dolph Ziggler says, well, hey, I'll tell you what. What if you put that belt on the line one more time? And if I don't beat you, I will end my career. So there you go. Career versus title, The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler at No Mercy. The Miz, of course, is like, what? Holy shit, are you serious? You're going to put your career on the line? Okay, I accept. The match is done, and it's set. What do you guys think? Is Dolph out of there? I mean, to me, this looks like Dolph Ziggler is leaving. I know his contract was up a while back, a couple of years ago or something like that. He wound up re-signing, which I think surprised a lot of us. But that seems like it's been a while now. His contract could be up again. He could be actually leaving this time. And this is a pretty good way for him to leave the WWE. I think it's the best thing for him. I mean, I'm so frustrated with WWE and their lack of desire to do anything with Dolph Ziggler. He's such a good worker, and I've always enjoyed what he can do. And I think if he leaves WWE, he can make a ton of money on the independent scene. He can go to Japan. He can go to Ring of Honor, TNA, anywhere, and have great matches and probably make just about as much money. He wouldn't have the frustration that he currently has, and maybe he can come back to the WWE in a couple of years with a fresh mind and a fresh attitude. If he leaves WWE, he can't be Dolph Ziggler. He's got to be whatever the hell his name is, Nick whatever. So him not being able to take his character with him is going to hurt him a little bit, but still, at the end of the day, at this point, it might be best for Dolph just to leave. This could be a big swerve, though. He could finally win the Intercontinental title, and that would be a nice moment for him. But the way it looks right now, I think he might be out of there. So you guys might know better than me his contract situation. Some of you, I'm sure, read the sheets a little bit more than I do. So if you can fill me in on whatever's going on behind the scenes with that, feel free to throw that in the comments below. But I'm a little worried that Ziggler's time in the WWE is coming to an end, and it makes me very sad. The other major storyline going on SmackDown right now is Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. This was okay. Randy Orton opened the show, actually, with a promo on Bray Wyatt. Bray came up on the Titantron and started cutting a promo on Randy Orton in his very Bray Wyatt-ish way. Very spooky, even brought up Randy Orton's kids. Randy Orton then just got out of the ring and made a beeline right for the back. He spent the whole show looking for Bray Wyatt. He found all these weird things, found something on the wall, and he turned it, and then when the camera came back to it, it was put back the way it was. Eric Rowan was standing there in the sheep's mask a couple of times when Randy Orton was really close. He opens a couple of doors looking for Bray Wyatt. One of them had like a cardboard cutout of Randy Orton sitting there, and finally we go to Bray Wyatt, who is now backstage somewhere cutting a promo in the dark, making fun of Randy Orton, saying, "Oh, I thought you were the Predator. I thought you could find anything. And where are you? Come get me. Come get me." And then behind Bray Wyatt, you see a figure with the sheep's mask. You assume it's Eric Rowan, but it turns out to be Randy Orton, and then he punches Bray Wyatt, and they start to fight. Now, the whole thing they did, the whole setup to that, I think was okay. The only thing I wish they would have done is made it a little bit more extreme, a little bit more violent. When Randy Orton finally snuck up behind Bray Wyatt, I wish he would have hit him with a vicious RKO. Right onto something where it makes a loud smack through a table, anything that's sitting there on the floor. Maybe even a TV light falls down or something like that. Make it real. Maybe have a lady scream in the background. Put a sound effect in there if you have to. But make it sound like Bray Wyatt's skull cracked the pavement. Making Orton's attack on Bray Wyatt a little more vicious, I think, would have made the whole overall segment that arced throughout the entire show a lot better. But at this point, I don't have any reason to believe why the outcome would be any different for Bray Wyatt. He's probably going to fall to Randy Orton just like he falls to everybody else. What else did we see on SmackDown? We had an 8-man tag. The Usos came out there with a new look and new music. Unless they did this last week, I didn't see. I don't think they had this stuff yet. So they're dressed a little bit differently, which I was waiting for them to change that music. It needed to be a little more slower, a little more heelish. And they've done that. They teamed up with the Ascension and defeated American Alpha and Slater and Rhino. And one of the Usos tapped out Heath Slater with the half crab. And I like the Usos. They're aggressive. They're ass-kicking. It's exactly what they needed. I don't know if it's really going to last. They are getting the title shot, I believe, against Slater and Rhino, I believe, at No Mercy. You know what? I don't even know. I think they are. And I think the Usos need to win the title. I think maybe they gave them to Slater and Rhino so they could give Slater the contract and storyline. I know Rhino was all into politics in Michigan, and he's running for office and shit, so this guy can't be tag team champion forever. They're eventually going to have to take the belt off of him, so I would love to see the Usos win the belts, have a short heel run, and then drop them, obviously, to American Alpha sometime in the future. I like what I saw from Alexa Bliss, too. I'm warming up on her. I have not had good things to say about the women on SmackDown so far. Becky Lynch, of course, I love. But Carmella and Alexa, I don't know. Carmella, I'm not a fan of at all. Alexa, I wasn't sure about. She impressed me in that 6-woman match they had at Backlash, and she did a pretty good job on a couple of other matches on SmackDown, so I'm warming up to her, and she seems really spunky and can be really vicious at times, and she came out and attacked Becky Lynch during Becky's entrance, and I like that. I like the fact that she's little, but she's still ferocious and mean. That's perfect. She's getting the title match, right, at No Mercy against Becky Lynch, so I don't think she's going to pick up the belt or anything. I think Becky should have a run with it, but still, Alexa Bliss, she's warming up on me a lot quicker than Carmella is. We also had some more Curt Hawkins promos, and I love Curt Hawkins. I wish him nothing but the best in the WWE, but I am not sure about this character. It's really over the top. It's really kooky. It's meant to be funny, obviously. I don't know if it really is or not yet. We'll have to see how it all comes off on TV, but right now I'm not that optimistic for Curt Hawkins' character. Before I get out of here, I do want to mention a couple of other things. A lot of people wanted me to comment on the speculation that WWE might buy TNA. I did hear that. A lot of people were talking about it. Billy Corgan has recently taken over control of the day-to-day operations of TNA, but Dixie Carter, I think, still owns something like 70% of the company. She's looking to sell it. Billy Corgan might buy it. WWE, I guess, has been showing some interest, probably only because of their tape library. When you look at WWE's roster right now, all the former TNA talent they have there, especially someone like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, so many guys that they could use that tape library for video packages and DVDs. I mean, if AJ Styles, gets a WWE DVD put out on him, which I'm sure he will in the future, I mean, how are they going to do that without having any TNA footage? It's like when TNA releases a DVD of Sting. How can they do it without WCW footage? But they fucking did it anyway. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if WWE bought TNA and just swallowed it up, cherry-picked a little bit of the talent that they wanted, shut the company down, and took the tape library. I kind of don't want that to happen. I want as much competition out there as possible, so hopefully Billy Corgan can buy the company. Hopefully somebody can buy the company and keep it going, because if Vince buys it, it's probably going to get shut down. There's no sense in WWE keeping TNA open when they have NXT. So the only way TNA is going to stay alive is if somebody other than WWE purchases it, and I really hope that happens. Apparently WWE's even reached out to Matt Hardy because he's doing such an amazing job with this broken Matt Hardy character. They might want him back. His contract is up at the beginning of next year, and Hardy should do it. He should fucking go. WWE would probably ruin that whole thing, but to see the Hardys, at least one of them, hopefully both of them, get one final run in the WWE before they hang him up will be really nice, and Matt Hardy has really gotten the attention of the entire wrestling world with what he's doing with that broken Matt Hardy gimmick and storyline. It's fucking fabulous. Cody Rhodes recently signed with TNA too, and he's having trouble even using his wrestling name. WWE's really sticking it to him. They won't even let him be called Cody Rhodes, which sucks. And he's been rumored to have signed with TNA and should be debuting soon. So if WWE winds up buying the company, I don't know if Cody would have any interest in even going back to WWE. Doesn't sound like they are really on the best of terms right now. So his situation might be a little different depending on who purchases TNA. There's a lot of things still up in the air with all of that. So let me know any of your comments on it. If you know anything that I don't, any more information you might have, I'd love to know about it too. Leave it in the comments below. I am out of here. Like I said, hopefully we can all live without each other for 10 days. I will be up here after No Mercy on Sunday, October 9th. If I can somehow find a way to get up here before then and give you some sort of a video, I will. But because of my move and my transition and my relocation, I really don't think that's possible. But I will do it if I can. I will talk to you guys in a little bit less than 2 weeks. Until next time, peace.